anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to. He look crazy, Bill.
Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back in. I love.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome back into a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. It is good to be back. It was better to be in Costa Rica, though.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Cool. What a place, man. What a phenomenal spot that Pura Vida is, as we were there for the last 7 days, man. It was awesome. We went to 2 spots. We went to both sides of the country and saw it all, man. We did it all, from zip lining to thermal baths in the volcanoes.
Ew, nice.
Oh, did you get a little ash rub?
Ash rub.
Yes.
It was awesome, dude. We also did waterfalls. We did hiking. Man, we saw it all. It was awesome. But it's good to be back.
Horseback riding?
Horseback riding.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Did the horseback riding. We did. We put as much of Costa Rica into 7 days as we could. Met a lot of cool and interesting people, and it was awesome. It was a trip of a lifetime. Really, man.
That's
it was something
great.
that I will remember forever. So it's good to be back. Shout out to the crew. Shout out to Katie, Lloyd, Stewie, Jay, everybody for holding it down during not just last week, man, but the last 3 weeks, the last month really has been crazy in my life, and I got to thank the crew, man, for y'all stepping up and taking care of business. I thought the content was fantastic. There was a ton of news that was coming out. Y'all were staying on top of it and had great guests, so appreciate it. Great work by the crew, and it's good to be back here with everybody. Thanks for everybody for staying with us and staying involved with us, and there's a lot to get to. We're going to talk to one of LSU's newest transfers in from the transfer portal, as LSU's been cleaning up here. Deuce Chestnut, the defensive back from Syracuse, is going to stop by here at 8 o'clock this morning. So we will ask him what it was about LSU that made him commit and jump aboard here to Brian Kelly and the LSU staff as they're restoring this roster going into another college football season, as the college football season ended last night. And I guess that's where we will start with the national championship game. And Georgia, the Bulldogs, bludgeoning the TCU Horned Frogs 65-7. Georgia's
sad.
65 points are the most in any title game that's BCS or college football playoff. It's the biggest blowout of an AP top 3 team ever. The Bulldogs' 58-point win is the largest margin of victory in FBS bowl history. That number was 56, which LSU tied in their defeat versus Purdue in the Cheez-It Bowl. But last night, Georgia beating TCU 65-7, up that 2 points. And then quarterback Stetson Bennett, who I think is the real winner of this, was the offensive MVP of the title game. He was 18 of 25 last night for 300 yards, 304 yards. He had 4 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns, which tied Joey B's performance in the Natty 2019 versus Clemson. And Bennett has maybe marked his territory on a college football campus as glaring as anybody that I could ever remember, and that's Joe Burrow included. Burrow was a season, and if there was any argument, it would probably be Joe, just because of the 2 years that he was here, highlighted by his senior season, is something that, we'll never forget. Everybody will always remember. It'll always kind of be burnt into your mind of just how dominant it was. But if you're a Georgia fan, or if you're a Georgia alum, and you have any piece of Georgia in you that you pull for, Stetson Bennett has to be a god to you. I mean, this guy is one of the greatest college football players of all time. And I say that really with no reservation. He started 2 national championship games and won them both. He's the single-season passing yardage leader. He broke the record in the first quarter on Monday for that single-season passing leader in Georgia history. He's a Heisman finalist, and he was the MVP in all 4 playoff games that he played in. So when the stage was the biggest, when the game meant the most, Stetson Bennett played his best. And that's what I'll always remember about Joe Burrow, right? I mean, I'll always remember 3rd and 17. I'll always remember the drive before half at Alabama. I'll always remember him, playing his best when you needed his best. And he would always produce. Stetson Bennett is that guy for the University of Georgia. He
didn't even start in 2021.
Hell, Katie, they told him to leave.
I know.
He left
That's
and
what's
came
wild.
back.
Yeah.
He's from the area.
Yeah.
And he grew up going to Georgia football games. He dreamt about playing quarterback at the school, and then he gets there, they tell him, you're not good enough.
I know.
You gotta go figure it out somewhere else. He does. He's got like the pride. He's got enough of humility to say, I'm going back. After you told me you didn't want me. And when he went back, there were 5 quarterbacks on the roster that were, perceived to be better than him.
Yeah.
They came in with higher recruiting rankings. They came in with more accolades. They came in with more skill. They came in with, what everybody thought to be more talent. But, at the end of the day, Stetson Bennett is the one that won the job. And look, last year, I think Stetson Bennett was kind of a cute story. It was fun. It was, it was something that you could kind of wrap your arms around, and everybody kind of was pulling for. He was kind of the underdog last season, right? Then he comes back this year, and he's kind of this marked man where he's got the natty. He didn't have to come back, and he comes back, and they go 15-0 and win in the fashion that they did in Atlanta versus Ohio State, and then last night to just go in there and obliterate. Obliterated. TCU. Even TCU after the game, Sonny Dykes and their players had to recognize, there's different tiers to this thing. Like college football has got different tiers to it, and the SEC just sits in a class by itself. There's a couple other schools out there, the Ohio States, Clemson for a while, that could compete and keep up. It looks like, some schools out west are trying to make a run, but for the most part, it's without a doubt, inarguable, that the best college football is played in the Southeastern Conference. And whether or not that's top to bottom, where, teams like Kentucky can get beat in the bowl game like they did, okay. But all in all, if you play the elite of the conference against anybody else's elite, right? Like TCU was Big 12 elite, and they were the ones that had, gone through the gauntlet of their conference and, magically kind of won some games, and was a story that you were kind of thinking. You even heard on the desk beforehand with David Pollock and the crew, kind of like, man, they've never been out of a game all season long, and when you think they are, they come back and win. So why would you start voting against them now? And I got the sentiment. I understood it. I didn't see 65-7 happening. But once it started, once the game kicked off, once Georgia got the ball, after TCU went 3 and out, and they were just, they were pushing them 5 yards back. Brock Bowers they couldn't guard him. There was nobody in the building that had TCU gear on that could run with Brock Bowers. It was a different style of football. It was a different style of athlete. Did you see the true freshman number 99 come in? As Georgia was playing was playing more guys, they were getting faster and like more quick twitch.
Their backups were better than TCU.
I mean, the best defensive lineman on the field last night was a true freshman.
Bear.
For Georgia. Is it Bear Taylor, I think is his name? I mean, he's got a great defensive line name. I mean, I saw he's from like Denton, Texas.
They're already favored to win the Natty next year.
Oh, they should
Georgia
be.
is based on their roster now.
Yeah, and look, I don't know how you could argue that.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, like,
can't.
I mean, I guess that you would say who's going to play quarterback, you know, and that's a big deal on who's going to replace Stetson Bennett. But I mean, you got to look at Beck last night, and you know, I mean, all he did was hand it off. So I mean, you couldn't really, you know, get an idea of what he was. But I mean, one thing that you don't have to question about Georgia is how they've recruited.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what that is.
And I read they have one player from the portal. Everybody else they've developed.
Well, they got one play. They picked up a couple here over the last couple of weeks. Some wide receivers. They got a wide receiver from Mississippi State.
Yeah, that's
They
right.
got a wide receiver from Missouri. But last year the story was, because I mean, at SEC Media Days, Kirby Smart led off his, you know, kind of your opening statement when you take the podium was that, look, I know I'm going to be asked about the transfer portal. You want to know my thoughts on the transfer portal? We didn't take one. And everybody was like, I mean, he just flexed on everybody.
We don't need him.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he followed it up by saying the reason why we didn't get into the portal is because we didn't see anybody out there that was better than what we have. There was nobody that we looked at that said, hey, we need to upgrade the talent. LSU, like Brian Kelly has said over the last couple of, you know, weeks and months in restoring the roster, that they want to do it through high school recruiting. They want to do it through, you know, the modern day of recruiting, of, you know, bringing in 4 or 5-star guys each year out of high school, having them develop, play 4 or 5 years on campus, and build the program. LSU just doesn't have the luxury right now because of some of the holes that they have to fill. There's not enough talent or not enough depth that's in the locker room already that's established that you can count on, or they just don't even have the bodies. So you got to go get into the transfer portal and start to bring people in. Once you can kind of get that cycle of restoring that depth, then you can build the roster that Georgia has. I mean, Georgia has a roster that is built for championships. I mean, like a multi-year run of championships. Bear Alexander is the kid's name.
Well, and you saw
Number 99. I mean, he looked like Warren Sapp out there. I mean, like, it was as they cleared the bench, they got faster. They got better. They got more aggressive. And you know, look, I thought Kirby Smart's. We were actually on the plane coming in, and shout out United Airlines. They have DirecTV.
Oh, really?
On
Nice.
like that you can like tap in and like for free and watch.
Nice.
And so we were watching. I was watching all the build up to you know, to the game, and kind of watch the opening 5-10 minutes of the game, and then we landed in Houston, had to jump on another plane and get to New Orleans. But when Kirby Smart was asked on the field by, I believe, Holly Rowe, what do you need to see tonight from your team? And he just looked into the camera and he said, aggression. And she was like, that's it? And he was like, and he kind of was like, oh, yeah, let me help you out here, Holly. I know that we're trying to fill a little time. He said, we're about to hunt tonight. He said, one thing's for certain is that we're about to go hunting. And I thought to myself, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, TCU has no idea what's about to hit them. And, I mean, as soon as really they got on the field, you could feel it.
Yeah,
like, you were like, oh, they're a lot faster than TCU is. They're a lot stronger than TCU is. They're obviously a lot deeper than TCU is. This is about to be a blowout.
Yeah.
Like, they're about to beat the hell out of TCU.
After that quote, I couldn't get to the Caesar Sportsbook app fast enough. It was a race against the clock, which was like, this man means business. Like, he was not pulling any punches talking to Holly Rowe. He said a one-word answer when he knows what he's supposed to be doing. But we've talked about Kirby before, like how he kind of handled the LSU and the SEC championship.
Yeah.
He clearly plays with like this mental edge to himself where
Definitely.
it's me versus you, and I don't give one fuck
Nah, at
about
all.
what y'all think about me.
At all.
He acts like a player.
Yeah,
He does. He does. He has a player mentality. In fact, when they showed Georgia coming on the field, he's like leading them out, and he's like clapping it up like he's like getting ready to play. When they showed TCU, Sonny Dykes isn't even in the screen. He was, no, seriously, like it was just players like coming out. I mean, it was.
And it's not Dabo vibes where it's like it's about me. It's like I'm about to we
it's
about to go
kick
hunt.
this thing.
Yeah,
kick this thing.
I'm just
off.
glad I got a seat.
And isn't he like 47?
He's young.
I mean,
He's
is he going to
young.
outpace
Problem.
Saban?
He's young.
It's a problem.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a problem.
I mean, he is the single reason, in my opinion, the most reason of why Alabama is now slipping, because
100%.
he not only is he beating them at their game of recruiting, he's gone in there and cherry picked a couple of the people out that really means something to Saban. I think Scott Cochran is a total weirdo. I think he's a total douchebag, the way that he jumps around and screams and does all that stuff. But all of the football players that play for him do not.
Right.
They love him. And he means a ton to that program. And he meant an absolute – I mean, he was worth his weight in gold to Alabama, because Saban is not that guy.
Right.
Kirby Smart kind of is.
Yeah.
Kirby will jump around, get in your face, push you, hit you in the, you know what I mean? Like he'll try to do that stuff. I remember going to Alabama, to Tuscaloosa to watch, I believe it was like Mettenberger, Landry, and Beckham and Hill play in 2014 or 2013, the year after that Classic. And it was the year that J.C. Copeland fumbled on the goal line and Landon Collins scooped it up and almost scored. I think 2013. And during, like, in between plays, they would have Scott Cochran on the video, like on the television, the Jumbotron in the stadium, pumping the crowd up.
Yeah.
Like it's supposed to be players.
Saban doesn't allow his assistant coaches to talk to the media. He doesn't allow true freshmen to talk to the media. He's letting this guy get the crowd going. If you remember, he was on Regions Bank commercials with Saban because Saban was trying to find creative ways to keep him happy. You know, like say, hey, man, you mean a ton to me, right? And while Kirby was there, Kirby and Cochran became best friends. And when he got the job at Georgia, Scott Cochran needed 2 more years on Alabama's staff to gain Alabama pension. And Saban, or Smart and Cochran kind of worked it out where, hey, look, finish that thing out. You get your Alabama pension. I'll hire you at Georgia, and I'll bring you on the field. Scott Cochran was the weight coach. He was the strength and conditioning coordinator for Alabama.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a coach. He had no duty of, but he was ahead of their strength program and came from Moffitt, from Baton Rouge, went to U-High. I mean, he's an LSU guy. Went to LSU. He was on the 2003 national championship team as a kind of an understudy of Moffitt. And when Saban got the job at Alabama, he hired him as his strength coach, and he became this personality at Alabama. And he became something that Saban couldn't really do. He couldn't jump around. He couldn't bark. He couldn't get in your face and, kind of hit you in the head. He had to stay CEO kind of tied up. Kirby Smart's not like that. He hired Cochran as his special teams coach. So he's made him like a position coach where he's given him more money. Now he's got a chance to get Georgia pension too.
Jeez.
So where, I mean, like that's what all of this stuff is, kind of the internal stuff of it that Smart has, he knew for his program to get where it is, where he's the first time back-to-back champ since Saban and Alabama did it, was that he's going to have to go through Tuscaloosa every year to do it, whether it's in the SEC title game or he's going to have to beat him twice in the title game and in the Natty like he did last year, for me to become superior to him.
To his maker.
I've got to go take his people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got to go take, And it's not just Cochran is the biggest example. That's the one that makes that everybody. He's gone in there and taken like compliance people and recruiting people. And I mean, if you remember Kirby Smart's first move, when he got the Georgia head coaching job, they kept him on as the defensive coordinator for the national championship run that season. And the day after the national championship game, he tweeted out a picture of Alabama's recruiting board, like of the players that he had, that Saban had prioritized. I mean, like, people saw that and were like, holy shit, like, that is a shot to your guy. Like, I mean, he had been on Saban's staff for over a decade. I mean, he started here with LSU.
Does Saban hate him?
I got to imagine deep down inside.
Has to. For
some of the stuff that he's done like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's Saban's own game.
And he's the first one to really kind of beat him and now own him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, Alabama is chasing for the first time since 2007. And that was Saban's first year. And they won the Natty in his second year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, his third year they won the Natty. I mean, like, they were... since then they have been the hunter, like they have, you know, I mean, like they have been the hunted. Excuse me, but now, I mean, he's got the gun because like Kirby Smart is he's the class of college football, and it's not an argument.
Right.
It's not a debate. Now, look, I saw what Alabama did in recruiting, and this is the type of stuff that Saban
shows you, 70-year-old man.
It shows you he's still got it. Like, he's like, okay, buy everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, get me everybody.
Yeah.
And I think he's in that mode of, let me see if I can't knock this cat off the pedestal before I get out of here one more time. But Kirby Smart's got a firm grip on college football right now, one that looked as if it was impossible to do.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it was possible to dominate this sport 2 years in a row. I mean, he's gone 29-1 in the last 2 years.
That's
Only
wild.
lost his to Saban. And that was in the
and he
SEC
cleaned,
championship.
and he cleaned it up.
Back and,
I mean, it cleaned him up. Brian Burgess, I think it's a little premature to crown UGA a dynasty. Brian,
29-1, Coach.
I would say go look at his roster, man. There's not a lot of drop-off. If you watched last night, as they were pulling All-Americans and first-round draft picks off the field, they're replacing them with true freshmen that are going to be first-round draft picks and All-Americans. I mean, it is not... It's not this reload. It is a machine, man. It is what Alabama was. It's what LSU was early in the 2000s, peaked at it a little bit in the mid-2010s, and kind of feels like Brian Kelly can kind of get it back to where it was. And I think that's why you hired a guy like Kelly, is because LSU has seen that. They've seen that 2-3 year run where you're like, look at LSU pumping out first-round picks, pumping out wins, beating top 10 teams, beating top 5 teams, doing all that stuff that when you look at and you see the program that's dominating the sport of how they're doing it, it's really by getting players. And like Kirby Smart saying afterwards last night, you can't have any entitlement in your program, and I think he does a really good job of that. You can tell after that Ohio State game last week, he kicked their ass last week. They had a week of practice last week that was probably, it was way, way more intense than the game was. You know, I mean, he probably kept and humbled them to a point of, and said, look, that Ohio State stuff will never happen again, or at least to this team, to this particular team. I mean, it felt like they're still I don't know if I was more impressed with their defense or their offense. I mean, the way that they were flying around on both sides of the ball, and the way that they dominated.
I mean, yeah,
dominated.
Their defense was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, but then you look up and their offense scored 65.
Yeah, I know, it was.
You know what I mean?
It's
like
they got. I mean, pick your poison, which is so funny to say because it's guys like Brock Bowers, Mikulski, like don't even know the cat's name, but he's out there balling.
Yeah.
And then you have Darnell Washington, who's 6'7", 250, playing hurt. And the orchestrator of all of this is Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
Who make fun of him for what you like if you want to. This is their king. Like, this is him on his recruiting visit. This is when they told him to get the fuck out. Like, you can't play quarterback here.
Isn't that wild, that photo?
And he's a back-to-back national champion for UGA and led them to, I mean, he got better. Say what you want about him.
He did.
He's going to make it in the league. He's going to have an NFL contract
Oh,
because of what
People are still saying he won't.
He
looked good.
He will get a chance for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I have come to the point of he's definitely going to get a shot. I mean, like even last year after the Natty, I was like, hey, he can't play in the NFL. Like, was very matter of fact about it. But then
he didn't want to come back.
Yeah, I mean, well, you don't want to really mess with that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you're the first time to win the national. It was kind of like Matt Malk. Malk could have come back, but you were like, wow. I mean, look, I'm gonna leave while I'm riding high.
Can't
man.
believe that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I've a national championship winning quarterback at LSU for the first time since 1958. All that can happen is bad things. I'm good. You know, I mean, and Stetson Bennett kind of felt like, why would you come? Why do you want to try and why would you? But he knew. He probably looked at the locker room and looked at the roster and was like, hey, we're probably going to be better next season. We got a chance to really go undefeated. I mean, they did. And they closed it out last night and went 15-0.
And they probably needed him. I'm sure Kirby Smart had a conversation. Was like, come back, like do exactly what you did last year. You don't have to change your. But he got in the gym. I mean, he looks fast.
He really.
I know
does.
it's a TCU team that say what you want about them. They're still in the national championship. They beat up on a Michigan team.
Yeah.
Like they deserve to be there. But Stetson Bennett was running around making plays, and it looked like he's kind of changed his game a little bit to fit the modern college football. I know if you put him on an NFL field, it's not going to look like that. But the fact that he's able to just be a little bit mobile, and he makes a ton of throws on the run, he's accurate, he knows what he's doing. You could see him in the huddle or with the clock counting down, and he was settling everybody in. He's not worried about the play clock. He's been there, done that, and I think that's a lot of where the NFL is going to these 4-year guys that look at a Brock Purdy that you can just trust. All right, I'll draft him. He'll be able to, in a pinch, he's not going to panic when he goes out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you could see it early. He had a crossing route to Bowers on the opening drive that was right down the middle. It was like a 25-yard dart. And I mean, as soon as Bowers caught it, they kind of moved the camera to him, and you could just see it I'm on tonight. I'm feeling it. I'm not going to miss one. And then he, that first touchdown run, he's way more athletic than we give him credit for. And I think that people have started to recognize how athletic he is, and maybe that's a storyline for a couple of weeks ago, but he's much more athletic than people had respected on him, and I think he kind of proved that this year. I mean, that touchdown run he made against Tennessee, where he puts the ball in the pylon from 20 yards out, he's making people miss. I mean, he's shown it this year where you look at him and you're like, I mean, maybe there's a place where it makes sense for him, and especially in today's age of the NFL, where they're not as shy about the measurements. They're not as shy, they're not as nervous about somebody that's a little undersized or maybe a step slow, doesn't have the arm strength that they quite need. They're not as hard-headed to the fact of not giving those guys a chance. And Stetson Bennett, to me, whether he's a lifelong backup or can crack it. I saw where Sam Hartman started for the New York Giants yesterday. It's been 5 years since he's been in the league. Is it Hartman?
No. Sam.
Yeah.
No, Sam. I'm thinking Sam Howell. No, he played for
Howell.
Yeah,
Howell. Hartman went to
Sam Hartman went
to Notre Dame.
Yes, Sam Howell.
Who went to North Carolina
last year.
Right.
So this is his second year, first year in the league.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean
just you never know when you're going to get a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and you never know where you have to land to get that shot. And I think Stetson Bennett is a guy that he's made a great case for himself over the next couple of weeks and months to be on somebody's draft board at some point. So
did you see? Who was my guy? David Pollock talking to Nick Saban in the post game, where he's like, UGA is they're at the top of the mountain now, and Nick Saban's face just goes, all right. You could see him take it in, and he was like, hey, I kind of think he's as of right now he's right, but Saban he wanted to say something, but there's nothing he could say.
Yeah, there's
and
not.
You have a UGA alum pretty much barking at you saying Georgia's the best team in the country. I don't see this changing. And to your point, if you doubt Georgia, everybody did this last year. They're like, oh, it's a flash in the pan. It's first time, like, good for them. Look how they lost 15 players to the draft. Look how they reloaded.
Yeah.
They're going to do the same thing. When I saw a test case of it last night. They're going to be here for a while. And if you're LSU, that's probably going to be the mascot. Like, that's the SEC championship you're going to see for a minute.
Yeah.
Because I don't see Tennessee making that same type of step that Georgia took.
Even
Right.
Florida, like Napier, that's a
It's a terrible job now.
that's a tough time to get the job in Kirby's fourth season like Napier got it. And he's young.
I know.
Both
where
of them are.
It's just like, oh, this is going to be
Napier's younger, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Than Kirby, I mean?
But not by much. Like it would they're on the same timeline of coaching here.
Yeah.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by City Cafe. Shout out to the crew over there, Cody Miranda, Squeaky Miranda, and the crew. Little Jay's birthday tomorrow.
Aw.
He's got a basketball game over that way, so we're going to do a big room over at City Cafe to
Fun.
celebrate after the game.
How old is he?
He's turning 12.
Oh, my gosh.
Tomorrow.
no.
It's crazy, man.
That's
It's
wild.
crazy. 12 years old.
Oh,
But
man.
whether
Teen
it's
years are coming.
birthdays, whether it's get-togethers, whether you're just looking for a lunch special, remember our friends over at City Cafe. It's where good friends meet. It's where good friends go to eat. They've been in business for over 100 years. CityCafeBR.net. CityCafeBR.net is the online site that you can search the menu. Don't forget about their brunch specials every Sunday. Brunch opens up 10 o'clock over there at City Cafe. CityCafeBR.net online is where you can find them on the corner of O'Neill and George O'Neill as well if you want to stop in and see them today.
Is 12 the new 13? I felt like I started to be bad at 12.
I
Like
mean,
that's
it's
when I started
preteen,
kind of
so, you're easing into it.
That's when you kind of start smarting back, and then
Well,
you
and
get
they're different now,
and you
you
get
know.
Yeah.
hit, and you're like
Definitely
all
like a
right.
little personality change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Attitude changes.
yeah.
Eyes start rolling
So
more.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
Way too cool.
I'm
Don't-
not cool at all.
Right.
right.
That's the toughest part about it.
yeah.
It's like you stop being cool. And it's
Long
like,
time
whoa.
ago, though. I think he's just, kind
Yeah.
of
Letting you down
bringing that-
easy?
Yeah.
He's being nice about it.
I mean, it is. I guess when you have it feels like when he turned 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that I even thought I was cool was
Yeah.
weird.
I know.
It was like,
Yeah.
who do you think you are, man?
Yeah.
But why
Kinda
did
depressing.
guy? See, I think I can see it on both ends, because the reason I was like, there's always an age when you're a kid to where you're like, oh, I hate my parents. Like, it just happens. I don't know if it's like hormones or whatever, but it also feels like parents are tugging the leash very tight whenever
Yeah.
these times happen. So it's like, if we could both get along, like understand
Right.
how
That's
this is
the key.
working, it doesn't have to be this back and forth where it always seems like there's angst.
Yeah.
And then you go to college and like, oh, wait, we wasted 3 years.
Right.
And then like, oh, we love you. And it's like, if you just would have done that the entire time,
know.
we'd have been good.
You have to understand what they're going through. They were going through all kinds of crazy hormonal changes
Yeah.
and stuff too, honestly.
Oh.
You just got to know that.
Menopause?
I meant the kids.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the parents. Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Menopause when she walks by.
What? I've never heard that. in my
Stick
life.
around. We're going to be joined by Deuce Chestnut, who is a newest member of the LSU squad, as he announced earlier this week that he's transferring in. Portal been very nice to the Tigers and Brian Kelly, as they've been doing some bang-up work here, bringing guys in. J.K. Johnson is another one that they added, the Ohio State defensive back. This is another relationship that goes back for Robert Steeples, who's on staff. Steeples, of course, is the cornerbacks coach, was a head coach over at DeSmet High School in St. Louis. Mekhi Wingo played there. He was a teammate of J.K. Johnson, the cornerback from Ohio State, who committed to LSU. So, as we said, LSU says they want to get to a point where they can recruit, as far as just bringing in high school seniors and maybe cherry picking the portal when you have to. But right now times are tough in the sense of some positions need depth immediately, some positions need faces and guys out there immediately, and defensive back is probably the most desperate for that. This comes on the heels of Jerick Bernard-Converse declaring for the NFL draft. It's just another body that is leaving out of the door that you have to restore. So picking up a guy like Deuce Chestnut, the cornerback out of Syracuse, and Ohio State cornerback J.K. Johnson, is things that you just got to do. And the transfer portal has, as we said, has been really kind to LSU, and they're not done at all. I think there's a big edge rusher out of South Carolina that LSU is trending towards right now, and seems like they're going to have a real chance to land him as the defensive line's probably another spot that you look at that needs some help.
Gilbert Edmond is his name.
From South Carolina?
Yeah, and it said edge, linebacker, so probably in that 3-4 mold. LSU needs, in the worst way, help in the linebacking room.
Yeah.
That's a place where they start to feel extremely thin. You keep adding corners, that's great. You need them. You need depth in an age where college football is changing. You saw Georgia throw it across the lot whenever they could have lined it up and beat you running the ball. But that's just how offenses are changing, so it's good to have depth at corner. But if they don't make a move in the portal, I don't really know where they're going to go. We talked about this a little bit while you're gone. Is this a situation where you see Harold Perkins having to move inside almost as his sophomore year and start that experiment now? Because you can't depend on the Weeks brothers.
I mean, I hate to move Perkins. I hate to really mess with him. You know, I think that where he is the absolute perfect spot for him. I mean, we were flashing his stats from his freshman season. How much better can he play? I mean, like,
while moving.
Why would you take that player? I would just go look for a middle linebacker. I wouldn't ask him to change what he does. I think that you could recruit very easily to that spot by just dangling him out there and saying, do you want to play next to this guy?
Make your job a lot easier.
A lot easier. Like, all you have to do is tackle. That's it. And if you go find a true middle linebacker, that's what they love to do. You know, go get Michael Divinity. You know, just say, Mike, see ball, hit ball, bro.
Don't think.
I mean, just go kill it. You know what I mean? Kevin Minter, wherever it goes, man, just go tackle it. I mean, go find someone like that so you can have Harold Perkins
do what he does best.
Being Harold Perkins, because if you asked Harold Perkins to change who he is, you might be taking the best player on defense in college football and changing him up. You know, I mean, that just, to me, look, Matt House has forgotten more football than I'll ever know, and he's obviously the one that found the position that Perkins is shining at. And if he decides that he can help him in a better place or in another spot, who the hell am I to say, what are you doing? But from this vantage point, to move Harold Perkins out of the scheme he's in on the defense right now is a ballsy move. Just because, I mean, hell, he might be the best player on that side of the ball as a freshman. I mean, if he's not, he's definitely in the discussion of being it. And I think you can still find a true backer. I really do. I think that did Tennessee's middle linebacker put his name into the portal? I want to say that I thought I saw that scrolling through a Twitter feed last night, sitting in the first time last night I had to do the sprint to the gate.
That's the worst.
And they held the gate for us.
At least they did that.
It was unreal.
Because they don't have to.
It was unreal. So
how late?
The delay. We were delayed an hour in Liberia. Mm-hmm. And when you touch down in America, you have to go through customs. Then you also have to recheck your bag and go through security again, which I had no idea.
It sucks.
No idea. Yeah, I'm like, say what? So the hour delay that we're experiencing in Liberia sets us, like that throws the whole thing off.
Yeah.
We had a 2-hour buffer.
Right.
In between layover, and like we could have, gotten something to eat, been all good.
If the line's long at customs, you're screwed.
You're screwed. And when we made the corner, so when we get off the, there was 138 people on the plane from Liberia to Houston, and 131 of them had connecting flights.
Yeah.
So people were like panicking.
Yeah.
I mean, people were freaking out, going to Phoenix, going to LA. I mean, like Kelly and I are like, we're going to rent a car. I guess we're just going to have to drive home. You know what I mean? Like, I guess we're just going to have to drive. But we're like, let's give it an effort here. You know what I mean? Like, the boarding process starts at 7:45. Or excuse me, the boarding process starts at 7:20. The plane takes off at 7:45. We land from Liberia at 7:12.
No, you did not.
7:12.
And y'all made it through customs?
7:12ish. So, like, you know, the process of landing a plane,
Yes.
once it touches on the ground, you still have 10 minutes
Yeah.
before you get off minimum. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're like taxiing, get to the deal. You know, like as he's like pulling up and stopping, people are like ready to sprint, man. And like
Stand
the
up in
ladies
the
on the
aisle.
thing,
Everybody
like,
stood up.
okay, we understand that 90% of the flight has connecting flights here, so let's all be cognizant of when we get off the plane. We understand there are 10 people that are not having. They have agreed that they will sit back and not. So I mean, people like you hear the door, and people are just like, boom, like jumping over seats, grabbing
Those
bags.
people.
So I'm like, Kel, you go get in security. I'll get bags. And if you can hold the plane,
Oh my god.
do it, girl. Do it. You know,
Do
what
all
I
the
mean?
tricks.
So, got the carry on. You know what I mean? Like you got to
Yeah.
carry. I got to carry on.
Yeah.
She's got to carry on. The door opens. Like I haven't sprint like that since ancient athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had no reason to open it up and
While
sprint. My
carrying a
hamstrings
bag.
right now feel like they are on fire.
Yeah.
Like this is as much as I can bend my leg right now.
That
If I
Achilles
bent
held
it
up.
straight out, this whole thing would curl up on me, and I would drop down face first on that ground right now. I'm telling you, Coach, I am opened up in a
Yeah.
terminal with a backpack on. I mean, like.
Look like a bomber.
Just, yeah, absolutely. Maybe like people, I'm like, excuse me, coming through, excuse me. Like people, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, don't take the escalator, take the stairs 2 at a time,
Yeah.
bouncing down. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah.
Get
How
to
did
the
y'all get through all that in time?
get
That's
to
amazing.
the baggage. Of course, our bags, last 2 to come out. If it wasn't the last 2, we were part of the last 10. And grab the bags. Now I've got 2 rollers, a backpack, hat backwards, ear pods in. And I mean, I'm cruising, bro. Got 2 suitcases. Now I'm not sprinting, but I'm sprinting for what I got in my hands. And I turn the corner. You got to go through security again.
Yeah.
Sweating.
And the maze line, I'm over.
I know.
What is the purpose of the maze line?
I
Does
guess
it
to slow
limit
it
the
down.
line of how long it'll go back?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
there's about 200 people here, so the line's not long. So I'm going under, and as I'm going under, my back is catching, and I'm snapping off
No, you're not.
those bands that they pull to line off. And so there's a Karen
Oh,
at
yeah,
an
there
airport,
is.
you know, and she's doing her job. I'm the asshole.
Right.
I understand that I'm the guy.
get
Sir, you're going to have to go through the line. So now I've got to I've got to kind of start over.
Tuck tail.
But sometimes they'll
Which
be
is
nice
this?
if you're
No,
like, look, I'm
no,
about
this
to
she
miss
was
my
not.
flight.
She was not.
She's
was
got
not.
to go back and clean up his mess.
So, but now I get to the line. So now I get there, and like we're looking at like 7:38.
You're cooked.
Oh yeah, no, I'm screwed. Like I'm thinking like I'm screwed. Kelly is ahead of me now.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like she's chasing it down. By the way, we land in Houston at GW Bush Air, which is a city.
Yeah.
It's a city. It's got its
Yeah.
own zip code. We land in E terminal. We got to get to B.
The plane train.
You know what I mean? Like we got to go across the country at this airport. So get through security. Then you got to get on the train.
Yeah.
Got to go 2 stops down to the deal. So when I get off this train, now I'm shedded of all the bags. I'm just back
That
with the
helps.
backpack. And this is really when I went like open field, Leonard Fournette, straight up, head not moving, like hope there's a camera on me because I feel like I look good right now. Like I am flying
Anybody catch that?
through this airport. I mean, like flying. And some lady is like walking towards me as I'm coming off the B. And she goes, New Orleans? And I say, yes, ma'am. She goes, I think your girl's holding the plane for you. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, just this relief of
That is
we're going to make
relief,
it.
yeah.
We're going to make it. Because there was a 20-minute stretch where you're like, we're dead.
Yeah. But you still try.
We're dead. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
never know. You could be delayed.
You know what
at the gate, too.
you know what was our second wind was customs. The line was not that long.
Yeah.
And we were kind of moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you turned the corner and saw customs, I was like, we're screwed.
Right.
But then the line
goes
kind of
quickly.
like started. It was moving.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was like, we ain't dead yet. We're not dead yet.
Right.
We got a shot.
Yeah.
We got a shot. And I mean, like, it was the movie. It was
Yeah.
we crossed the threshold into the plane, and they
Right.
shut the door.
It's such a feeling of relief.
And you
too.
could see like 3 or 4 people like, this is the prick we've been
Exactly.
waiting on.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Hello.
Yeah, like-
How you
we
doing?
were all here on time, sir.
I mean, like panting, bro. Just like I'm at the free throw line waiting on the ball, hands on the knees, pulling the shorts,
He's tired.
AirPod like coming down, dude. Just hat, just like I'm like, holy cow! I hadn't run like that since flag football and ancient athletes, bro.
Yeah, it'll humble you for sure.
I mean, humbled me.
And everyone's watching you at all their gates too, just laughing,
Yeah.
watching you run, just haul ass.
No
through
doubt.
there.
I mean, people are like, "Go, boy!
yeah.
Go ahead!
Get it.
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, heads up, it's coming through, it's coming. Like, whoa, excuse me.
On your left.
Yeah.
Get
You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it.
You get the vision back. You're like, oh, I see a crease.
Even when the lady was like, "You're good,"
Yeah.
like some dude was like, "He ain't trusting it," because I was still like, I was like, no doubt.
He don't know you.
Right? I was like, because I was like, for real? And she was like, oh yeah, you're good. And he was like, he ain't trusting you.
The commentary around you so
It
good.
was awesome, man. It was great. But that's the first time in my life I've ever sprinted
Are
in
you
an airport.
kidding?
That's the first
Lucky
time I've done
you.
it. I know. I guess, I mean, for as much as you travel, as much as, people fly, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess it's bound to happen to
Yeah.
you. Probably people, it happens to them numerous times. That's the first time I ever thought, like, deep in my heart, we're going to miss the
It
plane.
happens to me a lot because I don't like getting at an airport on time for one. So I always,
Well, on
I always
time.
screw that over.
Well, because people get there too early. Like,
yeah.
when people get there, like, we got to get there 2 hours in advance. It's like,
I would rather sit in my car in the parking lot than
Yeah.
go in there and sit at the gate.
oh,
or
just
sit on
the
a plane.
people that you see in the airport.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
great
like
people
free
watching.
For all.
You
Oh,
know
I mean,
you can eliminate all this by doing it's like
TSA?
TSA pre-check and global something.
Well,
Two
we
things
don't
which
travel
I've
enough.
never signed up for in my
Yeah.
life though. And every time I'm in the line, I'm like, I should have
I
signed
know.
up, but I never do it. And I
It
always
was,
make it. I
it was
mean,
intense, man. We made it, though. We're here.
good. Thank God.
Remember
it's
Daily
okay. I'm a limo driver.
We're so glad you made it.
Fell off the
You would have
jetway
said,
again.
"Wait, one
Oh,
more
I know.
day." We would have
Well,
been like,
no,
"Oh God."
No, I was driving.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like,
From Liberia.
we were rating. We were gonna hit submit on the car rental request
Yeah.
if we,
okay.
you know what I
were
mean.
ready.
Like we were going down to
Yeah.
like no bags, and our bags are still in Houston.
But there wasn't another flight. Like that was it.
That was it.
Oh yeah, because it was late.
That was it. We checked. I mean, not only did we check that airport for more flights, we checked flights from that airport to Baton Rouge and Lafayette, which were non-existent.
Man, y'all were ready to be.
There's
delayed.
another Houston airport just kind of right across town.
Yeah.
Looked at that airport. No flights going out.
Y'all were Baton Rouge or New Orleans?
New Orleans.
Oh.
New Orleans.
Well, and then that's when you start thinking, like, are we wasting time doing this when we should be making a move to get to our terminal? Like, you have to make a split decision of, you don't want to dabble. It's like taking a test. You're like, all right, I don't know these first 5 answers.
Yeah.
Let me find one. Like, let's make a plan here.
Yeah.
And y'all just said, let's go for it on 4th and 18.
Yeah.
Hail Mary.
Let's see.
Flutie.
Let's see. And we got there, man.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Wait,
it was great.
So how long do you think they held the plane?
Not long. I would say like 3 or 4 minutes.
No, that's not bad.
Not bad.
So people
I don't
could
think
not
I've
do
ever
that.
seen anybody
bad.
hold the
I mean,
plane.
we were supposed to take off at 7:45. I looked down. I mean, like the first actual like breath I can remember taking. I looked down at my phone and it was like 8:02, and we were kind of like lifting off.
That was really nice that they held it.
So I
for
mean, you know, like really and truly, like they held the plane,
Yeah,
man.
that's
Like
really
they straight
nice.
up held the plane, and
How does that work?
shout out to United.
I know.
Like, I mean, like for as much as airlines have been shit on,
Yeah.
and you know, probably a lot of them deservedly so. You know, they probably don't get a lot of compliments. And United Airlines, not only for your direct TV package that you had on the international flight,
I'm like, are they sponsoring
allowing
us?
us to watch the football game, but for holding the gate in Houston, which was more clutch than anything.
Did
Yeah.
they go like around the plane? That's what they should do, is take like a straw poll and be like, all right, raise your hand for should we hold it?
It's like Hunger Games.
Yeah, like Batman.
You know what?
Like we're gonna blow up the boat.
Truth be told, if I had a vote,
You would vote
take
no.
off.
Yeah,
No, I
should be
know.
here.
Take off. But now I don't think I ever would. You know what I mean? Just
there
because
you
I've been
go.
on the other, been on the
Yeah.
other side.
So it was meant to be for you to
Right.
have that experience.
Yeah, hold the plane.
How's that Achilles?
Hold the plane, coach. I'm miserable. I am miserable.
No bike ride today.
right now. No. No. All right, coming up here in a couple of minutes, we're going to talk to the newest member of LSU, who is a transfer portal guy. We're going to talk to Deuce Chestnut. Great name, bro. I mean, like.
I didn't know his name was Duce yesterday when we were talking about him. I never saw the nickname.
It's Darian.
Is it Darian?
Yeah, it's Darian
Deuce. And he wears 2.
Chestnut.
Oh, cool.
And then when I asked him for his email, the prefix of it is Deuce, so he
Deuce.
obviously goes by Deuce. But another member of LSU that they are going to have to add here into the portal. We'll talk to him about what stood out about LSU. LSU getting a lot of love in the preseason here. The final AP poll came out last night, and it ended like this. Georgia's 1, TCU 2. Michigan finished 3rd. Ohio State was 4th, who I'd probably have as the number 2 team in the country, Ohio State, after it's all shaken up. Alabama finished 5th. Tennessee was 6. Penn State 7, Washington 8, Tulane 9. How about the Greenies finishing in the top 10? Speaking of, Coach Willie Fritz going to be on with us on Friday.
Hell yes.
And then Utah finished on at number 10. Florida State 11, LSU 16. So Florida State finishing the season ahead of LSU, and those two in some early polls that I have seen for next year, because that's what we do in this business. As soon as it's over, we got to start talking about next year, and a lot of them have both LSU and Florida State in the top 5. I say a lot of them. I've only seen 2. And both had Florida State and LSU in their top 5. One had LSU at number 2.
Oh, God.
And Florida State at 5. The other had LSU at 4 and Florida State at 5. But either way, both programs getting mad respect after opening up against one another earlier this year, and going to be on the docket to open up against each other next season in Orlando. Going to be a great matchup, right? I mean, like, it's going to be an early season matchup that's going to be as intriguing as I think anything on the schedule when you look at that college football weekend, which is usually, kind of the kickoff, right? I mean, that's usually when you kind of dive into college football. LSU, Florida State, again, going to be the headliner, but I think this year probably fits it a little bit better than it did last season. It felt like both programs were a couple of years off, you know what I mean? Either LSU with a new coach in Brian Kelly, or Florida State just really trying to find their footing, and they did. Jordan Travis, obviously the quarterback, is fantastic, and Brian Kelly having a 10-win season in his first campaign at LSU is going to be it's going to be fantastic to see that game, that matchup early on. It's going to be very intriguing to see both teams there on opening weekend in a game that's going to carry a lot of weight through the year. I think the winner and loser of that game, is going to have a lot to come from that. If you win that game, that's going to, that could possibly put you as number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, we need a redo on that. My memories from that are just sitting there stunned at the end of that game.
Yeah, that was
Just
such a boring game. Well, the first half of it was so boring.
But all the build-up.
Yeah.
And then for that ending, just need to redo that.
Well, the fourth quarter was great.
Coach, we watched it we're basically going to leave, and then I was like, no, I can't do that. And so where the bar area is at the Caesars Dome now, and the Superdome, we go up to get drinks, obviously they were closed, so we're standing behind the bar watching the game with the workers, because the last drive's happening, we're like, oh my God. And so there's probably 15 to 20 of us behind the bar watching the game with the workers, watching the last drive. We're like, this is LSU football. This is Louisiana.
Yeah.
This is how it happens. Everybody's all riled up.
Yeah.
You're watching with people that are supposed to be working. They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, like you said, the kick happens, and you're just like, get me the hell home. Oh, my God, how did that just...
I sat there forever,
and I was like,
I feel
no,
like.
That's LSU football. That's how it always ends. I thought we were past this. Brian Kelly, welcome.
Welcome in, man. And 10 wins later, LSU's looking at a possible preseason top 5 team, and a recruiting class that's coming in with a ton of expectations. So it's going to be a really fun game. Remember, RMB Builders can take care of your dream home. They can help you do some reconstruction around the house. They got great social media right now that you can find on Instagram. Make sure and follow them there at rmb-builders.com. rmb-builders.com is where you can find them online. Hit them on Instagram at that same handle, and check out some of the projects that's going on right now for RMB. Rhett Bourgeois and his crew Great dependable crew over there at RMB, rmb-builders.com, rmb-builders.com. We're also going to talk about LSU basketball as they're looking to get back on track tonight after a loss to Texas A&M. Florida's going to be in town. Alex Fudge and crew will be here as Matt McMahon and LSU will tip off against the Gators at 6 p.m. tonight. That'll be on the SEC network for you if you're not going to make it out to the Maribor Center.
Is it at 6?
Yeah.
When was it 7?
6 o'clock.
Oh, you have something at 6?
Well, Sophie has a game at 6, but we're going to go to the Florida game after that. I kind of thought it started later than hers, so it's okay.
We will talk to Deuce Chestnut when we come back here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Second hour coming your way. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind. Good to be back. I appreciate everybody starting your Tuesday off here with us as we'll be back here for the next hour. Hour 2 coming your way, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculotta.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
I was embarrassed about my smile. Are you unhappy at yours? Do you not smile back at yourself? I called my friend, Dr. Spillers, over at Johnson Spillers. He fixed my smile, and now everywhere I go, people are complimenting it after the work that Dr. Spillers and the staff did to my mouth. They can do it to yours. Get in touch with them. JohnsonSpillers.com. 2 locations, one in Gonzales, one in Baton Rouge. Easy to find them, JohnsonSpillers.com.
The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame presents Friday the 13th Night Fights. 7 pro wrestling matches January 13th at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center and 1 celebrity boxing match for the ages. Pro Wrestling 225 and Gulf States Wrestling will feature 7 matches, 4 of which will be for championship belts. All the proceeds to benefit the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Foundation, Dreams Come True, and St. Jude. Get your tickets now because the main event, Glitz vs. Grits, will take place immediately following the wrestling, featuring Casey the Rougarou McKenzie. From Back Bruley, no career wins, but no career losses. And he will take on Ryan, the Pied Piper of Partying Maranto. He's never won a fight. He's never lost an after party. Get your tickets now. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame presents Glitz vs. Grits, January 13th. Get your tickets at lasportshall.com. That's lasportshall.com. And special thanks to the following sponsors.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, that's cool.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Here you go.
Thanks. And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hi, this is Dan Canterbury. Join myself and the legend, Coach Skip Burtman, for Hold the Rope Tuesday nights on YouTube. You can go to @Hold the Rope, Skip and Cano. Skip, tell them what we do.
We've got a lot of education. We've got some people that can tell you a lot about a lot of things. In the area of sports, we have a lot of entertainment. We got a lot of energy putting this in. I think you'll like it.
So join us for Hold the Rope.
That's what we've talked about with the television contract. What this is about to kind of kick up. Every week, you're going to be in a dogfight where the basement can beat the ceiling. Right? I mean,
I know, you good.
Example, the final regular season week of 2022, the last place team in the SEC West just beat the first place team in the SEC West, and it didn't look like a fluke. Right? I mean, like that was no accident. They outplayed them. They out-schemed them. They out-coached them. I mean, all of the things that you would look at and say, hey, man, better team won tonight. And that's just how it was. But, I mean, all in all, LSU, where they are, I mean, they're going to Atlanta. I mean, some of you are gearing up to take family trips, guy trips, people, college trips, old buddy trips to the SEC title game to watch LSU play in year one of Brian Kelly. Like, look, I know we all want really good football and we want it to be competitive every Saturday night, but let's pump the brakes on really kind of going in on the fallout of Saturday. I mean, Saturday that sucked. You know what I mean? Like but that's not what the program is. The program is this week. The program is week 1. You're going to Atlanta with a chance to win the SEC title. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live on this Tuesday. Good to be back with you. Thanks for being here and sharing your Tuesday here with us. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. Make sure you always are subscribed. YouTube channel, subscription, podcast out there for you as well. If you just want the audio only, make sure and hit that podcast up wherever you check out and get your podcast at, Spotify, Apple. You can scoop up the Jordy Culotta Show. Just subscribe there. You can get it downloaded daily, wherever you are. LSU restoring their roster for 2023, and there is a lot of expectation around this LSU football team that they are going to be they're going to be dominant, or they're going to be a team that's going to be very highly respected. Defensive back is a part of this roster that needs some restoration here pretty quickly. You know what they did in bringing in guys like Denver Harris from Texas A&M. They also picked up Taviano out of recruiting, the 4-star out of Texas. Javion Taviano is coming in as well with some other guys that are on the roster. They're still out there looking for more players, and over the last week they've had some success. J.K. Johnson from Ohio State jumped in and is a part of LSU now after transferring in from Ohio State. And they also picked up Darian Deuce Chestnut from Syracuse, who was a freshman All-American in 2021 and one of the top defensive backs in the portal. He's got 4 interceptions, 13 passes defended over the last couple of seasons with the Orangemen, and has pledged to LSU as a new member here out of the transfer portal, and he is joining us now here on the show. Good morning, Deuce. How are you, man? Congratulations.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm doing good, and you?
I'm good, man. So tell me, what was it about LSU that stood out during this process? I got to imagine that you heard from a lot of schools. Why the choice on LSU?
Yeah, definitely heard from a lot of schools, but LSU has always been my dream school. So just hearing the fact that I could be one of the best DBs, the best DB school, it was like simple for me.
You're from Camden, New Jersey. This is a far away from home. But you mentioned that LSU was your dream school. What's your image of LSU? How do you view LSU? Did you grow up watching LSU? Who's some of the names that stood out to you?
Honey Badger is the real reason I watch LSU. You know, watching Honey Badger and doing the stuff Honey Badger was doing, I always was kind of compared to Honey Badger with the versatility of me playing safety, corner, nickel, and stuff like that throughout high school. So I always watch Honey Badger, and that's kind of like my mentality. Is who I like. That's who I model my game after mentality wise. You know, he a dog, so that's always who I always looked up to growing up.
Who was your primary recruiter? Who were you talking to the most during this process?
You can say Coach Steeples. You know, he's a great coach, and he's always been Coach Steeples and Coach Jordan. Coach Jordan was the main recruiter for me. He hit me up every day. And Coach Jordan, yeah, so he was my guy on the visit. I talked to him most of the time. Coach Steeples, we sat down and talked for a while. You know, he's a great coach. You know, he was just a former player not too long ago. So to have a coach like that is kind of a great thing to have.
You mentioned your versatility. Where did they tell you that they want to play you?
I came here to be a corner, but, you know, if they need me to play nickel, that's what I'm going to play. You know, they run a lot of DBs on the field, at least 5 at a time. So if they need a nickel, they'll try to slide me in to play nickel too. So we'll see how it goes.
What was the visit like for you? What was your trip down to Baton Rouge? How was it?
Me and my family had a great time. You know, just being in Louisiana. I've never been in Louisiana. I just watched this from a distance. So just be able to go down there, look at the dome. I didn't even know they had a live tiger on campus. They had Mike the Tiger. So it was a great visit for me and my family just to see Mike the Tiger. He was laid out when I went to go see him, but it was great to see the facilities, you know, all the good stuff. You know, I've been in college. That's not going to surprise me. But it actually surprised me seeing LSU having great facilities and stuff like that. So it was definitely a great visit.
Where'd you eat? What'd you think of the food?
They fed me every time I looked away. It was, I never ate so much in just 2 days. That was like a week's supply of food probably. So I had gumbo for the first time. That was great. I had so much food. I ain't gonna lie, it was crazy.
That's awesome, man. We're talking to the newest Tiger, Deuce Chestnut, who is joining us here. One thing that LSU was, Deuce, last year, it looked like they had a lot of camaraderie. They were a tight team, even though they were put together through the transfer portal. They were kind of mismatched together just because of what Brian Kelly had to do with the roster. Did you get that feeling, or did you get a chance to spend any time around the team of what kind of the team feels like?
Yeah, I already got to spend a few with some players, and you can tell it's like a low-key brotherhood, you know. Everybody's cool with everybody. You know, it's just everybody got the same goal, so that's all you could tell, that everybody just want to win a national championship. So there's definitely a brotherhood going on there.
What's your relationship like with Brian Kelly?
Oh man, that's my guy. I was like, see, so my head coach is Coach Babers, and we had a great relationship, and he's probably gonna forever be my mentor in life and stuff like that, because he's just such a great guy as a person. But just to be around Coach Kelly was probably one of the funnest things. He's always got a joke to say, or he's always just a fun guy to be around, and you could tell he preaches national championship, and that's what you could tell that's what's going to be brought to LSU next year, because they got a great guy running the program, so I can't wait.
Yeah, I know that this probably doesn't mean a lot to you, but like services have a lot of respect for LSU next year. You look around at some of the early rankings, LSU's highly regarded, and there's a lot of respect, and it's probably it's mostly due to what Kelly is building and what he's done here in year one. Do you get the feel that there is a high expectation to perform next year when you're just walking around the building, that there is a kind of an expectation to win next year?
Of course, there's always an expectation just for LSU itself. LSU has always been a great program for years now, for a long time. So Coach Kelly came in first year, won 10 wins. I'm pretty sure everybody in Louisiana expect national championship now. They got a great season they had last year, but now it's just go win it all. So you can definitely feel that. You can definitely tell that's what's on Coach Kelly's mind every day. He preached it every day to me that he's trying to win a national championship, and that's what I'm here to do.
So are you here? Are you in school?
Nah, I'm still in Jersey, but I'll be there next weekend when school starts.
So you'll be a spring enrollee?
I'll be there I'll be there next week. Yep.
Beautiful. I see you wear number 0. Maybe the best player on the defense wears 0 in Mason Smith. How are you going to negotiate this?
I actually don't want 0. I want number 2. I'll be wearing number 2.
There we go.
Deuce, yeah. I always wanted to wear 2, but somebody had it at Syracuse, so I switched to 0. I kind of like the 0, but 2 is where my heart is really at.
What do you know about this defense? How about Matt House? Do you have a relationship with him?
Oh man, Matt House is my guy. He coached one of my 7-on-7 coaches for when he was at North Carolina, so we kind of already got a little connection there and stuff like that. But yeah, Coach House, man, he's a great coach. You can tell what he's trying to do with the defense, and man, we're gonna be some playmakers out there.
Deuce, what's the temperature where you're at right now?
Probably 30, 40 degrees.
Raining.
Gross. It is. It's 60 down here. In the summertime, it gets about 120 with a humidity of 100%. Are you ready for that?
Man, I'm definitely ready for it. I always played I played football in Florida a few times, like 7-on-7 and stuff like that. When my freshman year we went to Florida State, it was hot that day, but I had made one of my best plays in that day. So maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign. Make some more plays in that humid weather.
DBU, baby. Freshman All-American in 2021, coming down from New Jersey. He'll be enrolled in the spring. He's wearing number 2, and he's the newest member of the Purple and Gold out of the transfer portal. It is Deuce Chestnut from Syracuse. Great to talk to you, bro. Congratulations again. Looking forward to watching you in the Purple and Gold.
Thank you. I can't wait. Go Tigers.
Yes, sir.
Go Tigers.
There he is, Deuce Chestnut, checking in from the Northeast this morning. Remember, daily we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant, our friend Katie's Restaurant, Scott Craig and the crew down there in Mid-City, New Orleans, getting you set up. Great menu. As we say, it's an experience at Katie's, not just the menu, the food, the pizza, whatever you're looking to go get. It's great, man. You see a lot of people, you see a lot of people from the neighborhood. You see a lot of conversations happening between locals. It's a great spot to get the flair and flavor of New Orleans. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com is the online address that you can see the menu. They got great menu selections to choose from over at Katie's. They've been around since 1984 in Mid-City. Restaurant and bar. Great neighborhood joint over there at Katie's. Check them out. Katie'sInMidCity.com, bringing you the Jordy Culotta Show every single day here. So a lot like what we talked about last year, the transfers that they were pulling in, guys like Mekhi Wingo, Mekhi Gardner, Deuce Chestnut fits the role too. Seems like a great guy, a great dude, and just happens to be a really good football player. So that's what Brian Kelly's bringing into the program. Congratulations again to Chestnut for landing his dream school. It's crazy the reach of LSU and DBU and how impactful those Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson, Eric Reed, Mo Claiborne years really were for young defensive backs, right? It's probably like watching the wide receivers over the last 5-6 years at LSU. If you're a young wide receiver out there, you're looking at LSU thinking, man, I want to do that. I want to be like Justin Jefferson, be like Jamar Chase, be like some of these guys that I'm watching on Sunday, Terrace Marshall, making plays. I mean, those guys are all now growing up, watching LSU produce those types of players, a lot like what Chestnut just said, Tyrann Mathieu meant to him in growing up and watching the Badger play. So cool conversation there with Deuce Chestnut. Thanks for him for stopping by here on this Tuesday. Make sure and hit that like button, that share button, that comment button, as you can always subscribe on YouTube if you have not subscribed as well, and make sure to hit that alert button when you do, so you can check out when our content goes live. Big one for Matt McMahon and the LSU basketball team tonight.
Deuce is just riding along listening to the show. He's still in here.
Oh, I like that.
You want a little basketball trivia
hit me.
for today?
Hit me.
Deuce,
8
what's
years
up?
Man, I'm enjoying the show, man. I'm enjoying the show.
Bro, have you subscribed? Did you subscribe on YouTube?
I'm enjoying the show.
Yeah, we'll send you a link.
That's amazing.
I'm just enjoying the show,
I
man.
appreciate that, dog. Make sure you subscribe now.
You'll come in the building.
For sure. For sure.
We'll have you in person when you get in.
Hey, Deuce, if you want, I'd love to get a little Syracuse jersey for the set, bro.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh.
Syracuse jersey, I got you. I'll get it out for you.
I like
See, that's
that.
what happens when you hang on to the
See, when
show.
you hang around,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start asking for favors now, man.
We'll send you some merch too. Send Jordy your info. We'll send you some hoodies
Absolutely.
and stuff.
We'll send you some hoodies and some merch.
Oh, man, that'd be great.
All right, man.
Yeah,
Don't
feel
text
free to
and
hang
drive,
out,
bro.
yeah.
Keep your eyes on the road. It's icy up there, for God's sakes. LSU needs a cornerback.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, dog.
Later, bro.
I'll see you, man.
Okay.
Hit me with a
8
little
years
LSU
ago.
basketball tradition.
8
years ago.
What
What is
Deuce
this? 2022? So where are we at? 2016?
We're in 2023 right now, Jordy.
Gross.
I know.
It was 8 years ago was what?
2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a big math
2023.
guy.
Okay.
All right.
Is that right?
I don't know. Is it?
2014.
Is that right? You
6,
just said 2014,
7,
right?
8.
15.
2015 if
Okay.
you count 2023.
Okay.
Gross.
8 years ago in 2015, LSU men's basketball played its last double overtime game at the PBAC.
Oh, wow.
Behind 27 points from Tim Quarterman, the Tigers pulled out an 87-84 victory. Who did they beat?
Was it Georgia?
It was Georgia.
Wow, I remember that.
You do? Were you
I
there?
remember that game. Yeah, I was there. That was the night that you know who I watched that game? I watched that game with Roy Jones Jr., the
Really?
boxer.
No way.
Why?
He gave the pregame speech to LSU basketball that night because he was in town. Why was he in town? He was in town doing something, and he had a private room at Walk-Ons beforehand, and Gordy and I went in there, and he was like talking to them, and he was a special guest to the LSU basketball program that night. We drove him to the arena, walked him into the locker room, and stood on the corner of the locker room while he gave the pregame speech to the
No
team.
way.
And he signed a boxing glove for us.
Do you have it?
It's in my office at the house.
Oh, wow.
I'll bring it tomorrow.
That's cool.
And he
No
made
wonder
it.
you remember that game.
Yeah, and it was we met because he gave an unbelievable
Roy
pregame
Jones
speech.
Jr. cuts promos,
And then
coach.
LSU came out and like laid an egg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everybody was like, "What in the hell is going on?" And he was great to like sit next to. We had a phrase, I forget the phrase, but he wrote it on the glove that we kept saying
Can't be
during the
touched?
game. No, because it was something about like I was kind of like needling him about the pregame speech. Like that's how it was like we were kind of like we were
Chummy.
vibing a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they
Private room.
stormed back. Tim Quarterman, I remember that.
Yeah.
Quarterman, that was probably the best game Quarterman ever played at LSU.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Probably.
Very cool.
And the low top black Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
He was a menace on the court.
I have
team was-
not
the team
done
was
a
sneaky.
trivia yet
Sneaky good.
It was.
where you weren't there or remember or have like a specific memory about that game.
Step your game up, Kate.
I know.
Basketball tonight. It is going to be. It's a big one for Matt
It is a big
McMahon. The way that they have started conference play here has been interesting. A win over Arkansas, going toe-to-toe on the ropes with a down Kentucky team. I think that we do need to recognize that this is not the Kentucky, that we're usually used to seeing.
But they're moving up a little bit.
you know, they're coming along. But for LSU to do that in year one under Matt McMahon is still an accomplishment.
Yeah.
By I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But to have Kentucky on the ropes and really kind of get away with one.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky kind of stole one.
I know.
In that instance. To then get beat pretty bad by a Texas A&M
Mm-hmm.
team that you thought you'd play better against. This is a game where you really need to find your footing. You need to get back on track here. And this, you know, is an opportunity here for McMahon and LSU basketball to get it right. Gators are coming in tonight as they are 8-7 on the season. They're 1-2 in conference play. They rebounded very well as they average 36 rebounds a game. This will be a game that obviously KJ Jefferson and the crew is going to have to play big down low. 6 o'clock tip-off at the Maravich Center. But one thing is for certain. I've been very impressed with the way that LSU has played for the majority of the season. Sure, there's an outlying game like Texas A&M where you look at and you say, what happened there? But for the most part, the majority of the year, LSU has looked like a very well-prepared and coached team. And I think if you're looking and analyzing Matt McMahon in year one, there's a lot of positive behind what he's got going on and what he sees and what he draws up out there. Really, I think the understanding and IQ of the game that he has is very impressive. Just to see the way that he's got game plans, he's got defensive game plans, he's got ideas of rotations of what he wants to do. It's been cool to watch him kind of catch his footing here early as LSU basketball coach. But he's still got some tests. Tonight's a big one for him.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to get his team. They need to win this game. It's not a must win or anything like that, but they need a win.
Yeah,
they need a win just to kind of help stabilize them and keep them and get them right. So it'll be a good atmosphere. I'll be there at 6 o'clock. I'm looking forward to going and checking it out. Inside the Maravich Center is Florida be in town. Little Jay's favorite player last year on the team was Alex Fudge. Fudge, of course, transferred to Florida and now is going to come back here with the Gators. So we'll go check out Florida tonight as McMahon and the crew got a nice little test coming up with a 6 o'clock tip-off over at the Maravich Center.
This isn't the Mike White Florida Gators either, right? They're
Yeah.
under first-year head coach, so it doesn't feel as – because obviously if you remember the previous years with Mike White and Will Wade, they were kind of, jarring each other back and forth a little bit. So I think it'll be a more subdued Florida team, I would imagine. That's a great – it's not the old Florida of old, I guess what I'm trying to say. That's a great chance for LSU to get a win against a somewhat power name in the SEC East. So McMahon can step it up. Imagine good crowd again, you think? 6
I would think
o'clock?
so. Yeah, I think the early crowd will probably bring them out. I think that you hate to come off that performance, and ask people to come out. That's usually a tough task. But by the way that they supported the Arkansas game, the
impact.
I think that this is. I think that there will be a home court advantage tonight. I don't know if it'll be sold out, but I think that there will be people there for sure.
Yeah,
it'll be a good game. Really, it should be a good game. All right, so LSU basketball tonight, 6 o'clock. LSU football, appreciate Deuce Chestnut for stopping by. Talked a little bit about where LSU kind of going into the season is looking here. Some of the stories that we missed while we were away, obviously the Damar Hamlin story.
Yeah, I know.
Was just
we did talk about that a lot.
Tragic.
We all
obviously not
watched it,
now. It's
He
celebrated.
went home
Yeah,
yesterday.
he's doing well and he's gone home and the love and the support that you feel from around the league and everybody wearing the love for Damar and the number 3 shirts and sweatshirts. Obviously, a lot of people paying attention and. But to see that on a football field
That was the scariest thing I've ever seen.
Without question.
Yeah.
Without question, it's the scariest thing I've ever seen in competition. I thought for sure that he was dead.
I know, I did too.
I really did. By the way that he fell and then the report of CPR coming out, I thought this is going to be really, really bad.
Well, and the
and
way
you
that
know
teams
what has to
reacted.
happen for the NFL to call a game off?
Yeah.
Death.
That's exactly what I thought.
Well, and you didn't know. I mean, I watched it for 2 hours after that, just the coverage of them trying to figure out, see anything, like get any word of what was going on. Like no one knew anything, and it was terrifying to just wonder what was going on with him.
The fall.
Yeah,
That's
fall
what
was
was jarring.
it's like burned into my brain.
It was like Apollo Creed on Rocky IV. I mean, it really was. It was like it was as if he was dead falling.
Because I think that's what it's burned into most people's brains is if it's I don't want to make light of it. He just got hit and stayed down, and then it's not that. It's just that's what you see in football. But the fact that he got up, that's what made it feel like, oh my God, he's going back down. It's like, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened? Do you know do you remember when Ryan Shazier got hurt on the field, had the spinal? Do you know if they continued playing that day? Did they get him off the field and kept it moving?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the first time I've ever
This
heard
is the first time they've done that
of a game being called off because of something that happened on the field. I mean, I've never heard that. I mean, they played the Sunday after JFK was shot. I mean, Pete Rozelle said like on his deathbed that was his biggest regret that he ever had in his professional life was playing football that day.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, to me, that was almost like the closest that I had ever heard of them trying to cancel something. You know, I mean, they made 9/11 was a Tuesday. They played that Sunday.
Yeah.
You know,
that was weird too.
I mean, they were playing in New York.
Yeah.
That Sunday. So I mean, for the NFL to call football games off.
I know.
That didn't come from the NFL. That came from the two coaches that said.
Well, sure. I mean, but somebody in the NFL, Goodell could have gotten on the phone and said, "Well, then the assistant coaches are playing because y'all are playing it." I mean, that could have happened.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have gotten on the phone and said, "No, I'm vetoing this."
Yeah.
You know, like.
Then you have a coup on your hands where you have both rosters walk off the field.
How shocked were you that they called the game?
The longer that it lasted, I wasn't, just because they didn't know. I feel like this is what happens with social media, right? The immediacy with which people can put their input in and it be seen by, whether you like it or not, all these people have Twitter. They check the same things, or the news outlets that you check. They were seeing Booger McFarland on TV.
Yeah.
They were seeing Ryan Clark. They saw all the tweets. They're like, close this thing down. There's no reason to play. If there's no Twitter, if there's no social, I guarantee you they play. But the public backlash they'd have got that they were already receiving for this coming back to camera was probably enough for them to be like, and you see the two coaches pretty much shake hands on the field and be like, we ain't playing this thing. Like, we need to get home. Like, it's bigger than football. But if there's no social, if there's none of that stuff, I think they play it because they're so tone deaf to everything else that they do. But the public opinion was so right. It was so out in front of your face and so, I guess, unanimous for what they should do that the public almost made the decision for them.
Yeah,
because you look just so out of touch if you line it up and because there's reports of there being a 5-minute warning, and that's why they started to warm up. Like they had full intent of playing again.
That's what I'm saying.
People were going off on that.
That's what I'm saying. Like
what changed it?
Yeah.
It was if it was up to the league,
they playing.
They'd have played.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I thought that was Booger McFarland's finest hour on television. I hate that it came under that circumstance, and Booger is a very talented media member for the career that he has carved out in the way that he has started and some of the things that he has done. Booger McFarland's going to look back on his media career, or we're all going to look back on Booger's media career and be like, wow, look at all the stuff. I mean, he was a part of the inaugural team at the SEC Network. He's the face of college football's coverage. He's one of the faces of the NFL. He sat in the Monday Night Football booth. He sat down on the field at the Monday night game in this thing that they made up for him in a booger mobile. I mean, like,
man, scared of heights. They put him up there.
I mean, like, he has done some really cool stuff in television and in media. You know, he hosts radio shows down in Tampa. He's all over the place. I thought what he was just, you could see it, like he was so relatable. You know, he wasn't the defensive tackle. He wasn't this freak athlete. He was just a human being that was
put in a
very
terrible
genuine
spot.
And sincere and in a very, very hard spot. And
he was going through it.
He was definitely going through it.
He had a pen. We talked about this before. He just had a pen in his hand and he was just staring at it, like turning the pen over for like an hour. It was tough. really tough
Yeah,
to
because
watch.
at some point there's no more information to give.
There wasn't.
Yeah,
They
so-
couldn't find anything.
But they have to. That's the other arm of the NFL where it's like we have programming to fill,
Mhm.
and it's like, well, Booger, can you do it? He's like, I've said my piece,
Yeah.
and then they're like, all right, let's go get Ryan Clark.
Yeah.
And it's like there's only so many comments you can make, and ESPN's fortunate to have that talent in the building where Ryan Clark can relate because of his like sickle cell anemia. When he played
Yeah.
in Denver,
Yeah.
he almost died on the field or felt like he was going to,
Mhm.
and then he never played again. Like he didn't play playoff games in Denver because of how serious it was.
Right.
And so to have people that can, I don't want to say relate, but it can speak on the something like that was, I mean, paramount for ESPN.
Yeah.
That's why they are who they are.
Yeah. They ran those ads though.
Oh my
Could be
God,
like
we went to
10
commercial
solid
about
minutes
10
of commercials,
times.
Yeah.
And as somebody in that chair, it's like run another spot. This is
I don't.
we
I
got
don't-
nowhere to turn.
I don't
Yeah.
want to call anybody a winner from
the NFL is
the Hamlin situation, but one person that is not getting the attention that he should because it was kind of aligned at the same time as the Damar Hamlin story is Dana White. I mean, could you imagine if that video came out and Roger Goodell was hitting his wife at a bar?
This happened.
Coach, are you serious? Dana White is in Cancun, Mexico on New Year's Eve. And he is him and his wife are arguing, and she slaps him in the face over something he says, and he punches her twice in the face.
Oh, he's an MMA guy.
But has said that one thing that will be not forgiven in UFC is if any of his athletes puts hands on a female, and there's video out there of him. I mean, he cold-cocks her twice. And I know that ESPN had Booger and Ryan Clark out there, and they were doing great work as far as, bringing people up to speed, the Hamlin situation, being relatable, understandable, taking us through their stories and things that they've seen and all of that stuff. They're also a partner because the NFL is a big partner of ESPN. So is UFC. Right? And one story that you haven't seen and one thing that you haven't heard about is this a lot. I think that it's out there and people know that it happened, but it wasn't covered like it would have been if, and look, like I just said, ESPN's a partner with the NFL. If that was Roger Goodell, how much do you think that would be out there?
Yeah, he's avoided any consequences from that somehow. It's very
It's
strange.
unreal.
I mean, the wife put a statement out and said they were drinking too much.
Yeah,
but
right,
still.
Well, the wife has to protect herself.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that you
Just
saw
like
with the
that
Chris
Chris
Beard
Beard.
situation
Yeah.
where
Well, they finally I saw they fired him.
Yeah.
they had to eat how much money? Unbelievable how
Yeah.
they
Zero. They fired him with
Oh,
calls.
really?
They got him with calls. They fired him with calls.
Oh, jeez.
In their letter that the legal counsel writes to Chris. Did you see the letter?
Always like slowly turning and Googling.
Did you see the letter that the UT counsel wrote to Chris Beard's lawyer? Because Chris Beard's lawyer wrote a letter to the university, kind of like, why are you dangling your feet? Like, what's the problem here? There's no charges that are going to come from this. She has said that he was acting in self-defense, and the university fired back a letter that is published that says your unawareness and your attitude of, look, even if no charges don't come, you're still unbecoming of what it takes to hold this job. Right? Like you can't act a certain way and be in charge of the Texas basketball program.
Yeah.
Whether you're charged with a felony, whether you're charged with a crime or not.
Right.
If you have the cops coming to your house at 3:30 in the morning and your fiance's got strangle marks around her neck and there's alcohol all over the place. This is not what and he fired back and said, as of today, you will not receive, it's a termination letter.
Jeez.
and
to
he's
Chris Beard.
He's going to sue.
Sure. I think, but for the University of Texas to write that letter and have that type of stance, they've done their due diligence. They've said, look, if we go to court over this, here's our rock solid piece in the contract that says we're okay not to pay him anymore moving forward. And for an establishment like Texas to do that, they're probably certain 10 times. Not just
so many
one
hands.
person saying, yeah, that's cool. There was probably, a layer of authority saying, okay, we sign off, we sign off, we sign off, we sign off, we sign off. Okay, Chris Beard, you're fired. And
that's probably what took so long.
I think that they were waiting for the legal to shake out. I think people were, it was kind of looking like
he's going to get out of it.
And he still might. He still might not have any charges come from it. But like the university said to him, like, that's not the point, man. For you to think that because you may not be charged in this.
But he was charged, right, when he was arrested?
I think that he was booked, but I don't think that he's been officially like.
The wife would have to press charges.
Yeah, like she was saying that he was acting out of self-defense, that he was, that he didn't strangle her. Like she was trying to kind of, a lot like Dana White's wife is doing, kind of like just playing PR cleanup so we can keep this money coming in, I guess. I don't I don't want to say that because I don't know that for sure, but it feels like that. It feels like that. So, but that is one story that I thought, man, the more you look around, the more you just don't see it. You don't hear it. It's not out there. And for people in that position, the Goodells, the Silvers, the commissioners of faces of leagues, people are waiting for them to slip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, really, as brutal as that is, it's just
true.
the world we live in. People want the shocks. So, somebody was just holding their camera on Dana White, like looking at him argue with his wife, thinking, I might get something here.
Yeah, and they
the
did.
next thing you know, it's on TMZ.
Right.
So.
Somebody's always watching.
Yeah, somebody's always watching. Remember, daily, we are brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Our friend Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, #1 and the #2 business over there with Jude Barker. If you want to get in touch with them, the only way to do it is by giving them a call, 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431 is the phone number. Get in touch with Jude and the crew today. If you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, you'll save yourself 15% with our plumber, Jude Barker and the crew. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Mention the show, save 15%. 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431 is the way to get in touch with them at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. And as we said, mention the show, save yourself 15%. We'll be back with more of the show here, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame presents Friday the 13th Night Fights. 7 pro wrestling matches January 13th at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center and 1 celebrity boxing match for the ages. Pro Wrestling 225 and Gulf States Wrestling will feature 7 matches, 4 of which will be for championship belts. All the proceeds to benefit the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Foundation, Dreams Come True, and St. Jude. Get your tickets now because the main event, Glitz vs. Grits, will take place immediately following the wrestling, featuring Casey the Rougarou McKenzie. From Back Bruley, no career wins, but no career losses. And he will take on Ryan, the Pied Piper of Partying Maranto. He's never won a fight. He's never lost an after party. Get your tickets now. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame presents Glitz vs. Grits, January 13th. Get your tickets at lasportshall.com. That's lasportshall.com. And special thanks to the following sponsors.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Hey everybody, it's Mikey Matuk from Mic'd Up. If you haven't already liked or subscribed to our show, we're live every Monday, Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. from our studio, and every Friday from 4:30 to 6 from Uncle Earl's. Come hang out with the boys, me, Jay Mitch, Jackie Boy, Lloyd. Lloyd has his shenanigans up in the corner. Come hang out with us again. Like and subscribe. We're live Mondays and Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Fridays from Uncle Earl's from 4:30 to 6. Come hang out with us. We appreciate all the love. See you on the show.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live here on this Tuesday. Good to be back with you. Make sure and subscribe. You can hit us on social media. Anywhere you are on social media, search us at Culotta Show. Shout out to the crew for holding it down while I've been away for the last couple of weeks. Good stuff as Deuce Chestnut was here earlier on. Chestnut,
is he still here?
Deuce is the newest, one of the newest members to LSU football out of the transfer portal, where Brian Kelly and the staff have really done a bang-up job of restoring the roster and getting ready for a competitive spring. That LSU is going to feature, it looks like, 3 quarterbacks in competition. That's another story that we were watching and talking about. In the bowl game, of course, Malik Neighbors takes home the game MVP. Some really cool highlights coming out of that game, of none more greater than Quad Wilson, Frank Wilson IV, going 99.5 yards and setting a bowl record as far as an interception return for LSU, as Quad now has his name in record books for LSU forever. I guess that's a record that won't and can't be broken.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can go 108.
Oh, I guess you could.
Take it from the back.
I guess you could. You're right, Lloyd.
Antonio Cromartie.
You're right.
Yeah, sorry. But maybe that won't happen.
But it's going to be tough to break the 99.5.
Yeah, Lloyd.
Okay.
God.
Interception return in a bowl game, you prick.
It was either me or the chat that was going to do it.
I'd much rather hear from them. But one thing also that was evident, right, is the Nuss bus is it's gassed up and ready for spring. You know what I mean? Like it's got the shine on. It has been detailed.
You're going to do this again?
No, I'm not doing this again. I'm saying that for anyone to believe, and I thought Brian Kelly's answer after the game was epic. Brian Kelly, my man, is he knows what it takes to play politics and tell the public exactly nothing, but tell his team what they need to hear. Right? Like, he says that, yes, there's no quarterback competition. They've got a quarterback. Jaden Daniels is going to run with the first. But Nussmeier is going to have a chance to compete, and Walker Howard too. So in a very politically phrased answer, he's telling you that there is going to be a quarterback competition and that there's going to be respect for the guys that are coming into that competition. The respect being that Jaden Daniels has earned the first team reps and he'll get the first of the first team reps once the competition starts to play out on the field. But this is going to be an open competition. By no means, because Jaden Daniels was the starting quarterback this past season, do I believe that he's guaranteed to be the starting quarterback for this upcoming season. Brian Kelly is going to play the best players. He's going to play whoever gives LSU the best chance to win, whether it's at right guard or whether it's at quarterback. And Jaden Daniels has proven for the 2022 edition of LSU football that he was the best guy. And I don't think that that was debatable. I really don't. I think that it was clear cut. LSU was dealing with some issues on the offensive side where they needed a dual threat, athletic ability quarterback to keep a play alive if it broke down. And Daniels was better than I expected him to be at that. And he'll have a real chance to win that job and to keep it going into next year if he progresses and becomes more of a consistent passer, because that style of quarterback that Daniels plays is a winning style of quarterback. You can win championships with that style of quarterback, where he's athletic enough to make plays in the open field, but he's got the arm to make the throws. And he's got the arm to make the throws. He just hadn't shown it consistently that he can do it week in, week out, which I think that that's moreover what the staff is looking for. Just consistent pace at that position of who gives you the best chance to win week in, week out. And while Nuss has he's got the highlights and he's got the lowlights, right? I think that he's shown both. He's intriguing in the sense of you wonder what will happen once he matures a little more in that position. And I think to mature in that position, you got to go out there and play. You got to make some mistakes like he did against Southern, where you make a boneheaded play trying to throw the ball left-handed and throw a pick six, to plays like he made in the SEC championship game where he whips it over the Georgia defensive back to Malik Neighbors, and even Neighbors has kind of got it coming up on his face like, damn. I mean, this is a bullet. So, I mean, there's a lot of intriguing things to them. And then you see Walker Howard for the first time in the bowl game. And, I know that I have said that I believe he really is the future of that position. I still believe that. And I think that the coaching staff, or at least some of the coaching staff, believes that. So I don't believe that all three of them will be on the roster the last week of August. But I think all three of them will be on the roster for spring, at least. And if Kelly can play it and massage it right like he did last summer, he'll have them through the summer and through the first part of fall camp. I think this is going to be the LSU progression of quarterbacks. This is going to be a story that we talk about a lot for the next 5 to 6 years for Brian Kelly.
You don't think we're going to see Nuss going into the portal?
So I'm saying one of them will.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is.
It's going to be him, though, right?
I don't know. I mean, what if he goes out in the spring and his decision making is improved? Because if his decision making is improved, that ball he throws, that's pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. I mean, and if you've got wide receivers like LSU does, I mean, where did they play the best?
Yeah.
With who did they play the best with? Where were their numbers the best?
Yeah.
I think that's the strength of the offense again next season, is on the outside. And if you've got somebody that can, throw for 300 a game, LSU's going to be really tough.
Yeah.
So Jaden Daniels, I think, can potentially do that. Nussmeier can potentially do that. I think Walker Howard can potentially do that. So I think that they're looking at all three guys with a certain curiosity of who's the one, right? Like who's going to be the guy that makes the most sense for the 2023 edition of LSU football. Not not what happened in the past,
Right.
but which you have to take into account, but it doesn't win you the gig, right? Like there's respect that comes with the play that you put down on film, but there's also opportunities for new teams to have new players,
Right.
And when new players come into a competition, I think Kelly said so in the post game presser. I think he said this is an open competition. I think he said Daniels is going to get the first team reps. He's the guy. He's the first team quarterback. But Nussmeier's going to have a chance. Walker Howard's going to have a chance. So you're saying that this is a competition? Yes, which it should be. I think that's what sports is.
Yeah.
That's what it is every single day. You got to go out there and fight for your life, fight for your job. And I think, they look at those quarterbacks they have, and they think realistically, like, we can win with all three of them. You can win football games at a high level with any three of these guys, and there's not many programs in the country, specifically in the SEC, that can look in a quarterback room and say, we got three dudes. We got three guys.
It doesn't happen.
Right.
That you can win with. Yeah, it's very rare. But like I said, Kelly has played this. He played it right last year. He kept all three until 2 weeks before the opener.
Right.
I think if anybody would have bet on that, you'd have lost money. I don't know if he keeps them all three until 2 weeks of the opener this time, but I think he'll keep all three through spring. And he's probably knows enough about them by now, where he's had a year with them, all three of them, where he pretty much knows what to be looking for in what he wants from the position, from the job. And
we all watched Jaden evolve so much, though. I feel like over the last season, my money's on him still for next season.
Yeah, I would imagine in my mind, Jaden is Brian Kelly said as much also, where he announced him as the starter publicly. He's like, there's nothing that he has to worry about, but he also is in keeping the door open for competition. And I keep going back I said this last year. Technically I was wrong, but I thought he would play both the majority of the season.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And I think if he wants to keep Nuss that badly, that's something he's going to have to work into the scheme of the offense where, hey, Jaden, if you're cool with it, we got 80-20 package, 60-40 package, something.
Yeah.
Nussmeier has strengths that you don't have.
Yeah.
You have strengths that Nuss doesn't have. We can make this a marriage that works harmoniously, then that's the best chance that LSU has to win. Probably in a more realistic world, you see Nussmeier transfer out, probably hit I could see him going to, I said Ole Miss, I could see him going to TCU. Exactly.
If I'm a quarterback, I'm looking at TCU thinking,
licking my chops.
Absolutely. I can get those numbers.
Yeah. I'm not going to run like Doug's.
Yeah, but
it's
Sonny Dykes is
for
a good,
Nussmeier.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
you got Riley there at OC.
People are probably looking at Georgia.
Yeah.
Right. There's opportunities there. So, I think that position, it's going to be different. It's just going to be different the way that it exists.
Right.
And if you have three of them, like LSU does, man, the likelihood of keeping them is just,
I know.
This is
That's
very,
tough.
very, very highly unlikely.
The golden goose is Walker Howard, whatever it takes to keep him in the boat. I don't think he's going anywhere, but if you had to pick up the three, you have to keep Walker on the team. You don't let him get out the door.
Yeah, I think he's probably the one that they would want to keep, the firmest grip on. I don't know that for sure, but I would think so. I would think that.
I think you hit on a good point where Jaden Daniels was the best quarterback for 2022. 2023, the team has evolved. You kind of see what you had. It's not so much of a, hurry up and get going. That's the season feels like it's here, where they were kind of scrambling a little bit to put the team together. Now they're going to have a full offseason together. They're going to have a full spring together. There's going to be not so much haste to make a decision. Jaden Daniels was the best decision for 2022 because you didn't have to have necessarily a guy that knew the offense that was new. Jaden his escapability allows you to kind of freelance a little bit and win you some games whenever you don't really necessarily have the whole team on the same page.
Yeah, no, I see. I think you're starting to see even people inside the program recognize the identity change that the team and the program is going through. We talked, before I left about guys like Xavier Hill and Marcus Dumerville going into the transfer portal and looking for different opportunities. Anthony Bradford going to the NFL. He's going to the NFL because he's probably looking around thinking, I'm going to lose playing time on this offensive line next year. I mean, I was a starter. I was versatile. I played different positions. But they got guys coming in that I don't know how you don't play them. I mean, you know what you have in Campbell. You know what you have in Jones. You know some other guys in the program are going to be there. But the more I hear about Zalance Hurd and their plans for him, he fits the mold of Campbell and Jones. And if Bradford's out, I see an opportunity for Jones to get kicked down to guard, and Zalance Hurd could be your starting right tackle next year. You know, and I think that's what people kind of in the program understand. Mm-hmm. You know, of hey, it's different in that offensive line room, in certain rooms at LSU right now. And I think the most glaring is probably, you know, Brad Davis's group, where he's got 2 bona fide first-round picks in Jones and Campbell that are going to be here for 2 more years. He's got a stable that's continuing to fill up with guys like Bo Bordelon, and look, I know Fitzgerald West played defensive tackle in the bowl game, but I think that was kind of out of a necessity more than, you know, where they really like him. I think they like him at center. But even guys that they have coming in on this one, DJ Chester, who they love, Paul Mubanga, who they're very high on, is a guy that can play. Obviously, Tyree Adams and Zalance Hurd in this class. I mean, this offensive line room has really, really changed the way they look, the way they feel, the expectation of how and who they're going to play. And, I mean, think about if you could have 3-year starters on the offensive line like you potentially have in Jones, Campbell, and you bring in a guy like Zalance Hurd, and you've got 3 of your 5 that could play 3 years of football. I mean, offensive line is nothing but experience and chemistry. The longer and the more they do it and play alongside one another, the better they get at doing it together. And if you got 3 of them that are going to play that amount of time and that many reps, that's how, you know, I mean, look at that offensive line for Georgia last night, the way they were shoving around TCU. Saban said it in the pregame when they were breaking down what's the keys to the game. How does TCU win? How does Georgia win? When it got to Saban and he talked about Georgia, he goes, I just don't know how they can control TCU, how they can control the line of scrimmage. What are they going to do at the point of attack on the offensive and defensive line? I mean, it's fun to have the Biletnikoff and Heisman finalist as a quarterback and wide receiver. If you can't block and they are in the backfield 4 or 5 yards before you even can create a thought, or when you're on defense as TCU and they're pushing you 4 yards down the field before you can even touch them, 65-7. You know, I mean, it's going to be a blowout. This is going to be a rout. And that's the way that LSU's kind of building their ways here. I mean, you know, the Zalance Hurd highlights from the Under Armour game.
Oh my God!
Good God,
he's playing.
No, there's no doubt about it. There's. I mean, I never thought I would say this, but I mean, he's as good as Will Campbell was last year. I mean, Campbell was as much of a guarantee that's ever come through here that you've ever looked at. I mean, he's Leonard Fournette. He's Patrick Peterson. He's the guy that you're like, he's playing day 1, snap 1, game 1. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Will Campbell fit that role. Emory Jones kind of did to a degree. Zalance Hurd is that guy. He's that dude. I mean, he's the guy that you look at and you're like, oh my God, he's got to play. I mean, Anthony Bradford probably watched that game and was like, I'm going pro.
I'm out of here.
I'm out. I mean,
better chance to make it.
That guy's better than me. That senior in high school is better than me. And it's no disrespect, but he is. And it's just for whatever reason, LSU has been, or excuse me, the state of Louisiana has been routinely they didn't really make an impact with offensive linemen. I mean, like Cam Robinson comes through every once in 10 years. Before Cam Robinson, it was Lyle Collins. You know, I mean, it was long. It was spurts of time before you really had guys that could really play, you know, consistently. And to have Campbell, Emory Jones in the same class as even like Bo Bordelon and Fitzgerald West, to have Tyree Adams and Zalance Hurd in the same state in Louisiana is just it's a little outside of the norm. So if you have these guys, you got to get them all. You got to get all those guys. And like I said, they could potentially look up, and all three of them will be 3-year starters at LSU from the state of Louisiana. I mean, that's an easy recruiting pitch for Brad Davis down the line. That's a great sight for future recruits, Davis to sell, offensive coordinator to say, hey, look, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, you want to come play here? The quarterback's going to be protected. Why? Because Will Campbell and Emory Jones are about to go into their 3rd year, and Zalance Hurd's going into his 2nd. All 3 of them have projected as first-round picks. Some of them probably project as top 10 picks. I mean, Campbell, to me, is a franchise left tackle. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's don't overthink it. Draft him. You want to protect your quarterback for the next 15 years? You want Andrew Whitworth? There he is. You know, I can't wait to see what Emory Jones could potentially look like at guard. I mean, he could look like a big-time athlete. He could look like Glenn Davis, big baby, with a physical mentality, kind of an aggressive mentality, with a football mentality, playing guard, like pulling. Ooh. And like getting out in front of running backs, and I mean, just leading you down the field. He'll be leading you down the field. I mean, that shot of Campbell last year running alongside Armani Goodwin, where he's just like coasting with him. That stuff's freakish, man. That's 300-pound athletes moving as if they're ballerinas out there on a field full of athletes.
You saw Emory on punt return.
Yeah. I mean, Emory Jones on the Mississippi State open field punt return. You know, I mean, that's not supposed to happen. No. I guarantee you, Mike Leach, God rest his soul, rest in peace to the Pirate, let that guy know in that film that day, like, that's a freshman offensive lineman that just took you down in the open field. That ain't supposed to happen, kid. So,
did you hear this pregame speech by Kirby? You want to?
Hell yeah.
Trust your preparation. No, your ass is prepared for this shit for fucking 365 days. I think about them fuckers in that locker room. Think about getting our opportunity. All the shit you went through this week to get ready for this game, now is when you pay the fucking price. You go out there with energy, enthusiasm. Hey, guys, ain't nobody in this room should be cautious. Ain't nobody in this room should be nervous about shit. Go out here and fuck their ass up. Don't think about the scoreboard. Don't think about shit. You think about knocking the shit out of them. Did you hear what Box said on Monday? When I sat in that fucking meeting, I wanted to go fucking play right then. Tore your shit up out here. 2 years ago, fucked your shit up. Goddamn pride and joy tells me you fuck these guys up. You go play the right way. You play the right way. You knock their ass off. You stay off the fucking ground. You tackle the fucking man with a ball. The shit's easy. Look at the right shit. Punish their ass on offense and kick their ass on special teams, guys. It's about who the fuck we are. I believe in you. Let's go.
65-7. Good Lord.
Right there. Right now.
He does have a little bit of high school football in him. Like, it works, obviously.
He sounds like a Texas football coach.
He does, but if
Texas
he loses
forever.
and that comes out, it's like, I mean, he's not even talking about scheme. He's not talking about anything. He's just trying to rah-rah. But I think, like you said.
65-7.
Yeah, and he said, all that shit y'all went through, those practices were not easy, Coach. He was like, I'm going to put y'all through the ringer again because y'all almost got my ass embarrassed.
Yeah.
And the way he talks about football, I think that's the only thing he cares about.
It was easy to make fun of Kirby Smart after the LSU game, I thought. That timeout he called, I know I hadn't a chance to talk about this because it happened on New Year's night, New Year's Eve. That timeout he called on that fake punt, that's the best coaching move he's ever made. And that's the coaching move of his life. That'll probably be one that he talks about when he goes into the College Football Hall of Fame and looks back on how'd you get that second natty by calling that timeout on that fake punt against Ohio State.
And he was on the wrong side of the field to notice, like,
well,
where the
whoever the
formation
assistant was up top that caught it and he gave credit to that guy.
Okay,
which I thought was a better move by Smart, because you if you're an assistant, that happens a lot. A lot of the head coaches that get the applause for some of the decisions they make, they come from upstairs.
People in the booth.
Yeah, I mean, like some come from another spot. Same on bad calls as well. But
I had heard that he didn't have his headset switched over, that he was still on defense and he has to switch it over to special teams. And they were screaming at him too, and he didn't have it switched over. And they said that he noticed it, and he was like right at the
whatever
last
the story
second.
is.
Yes,
I'm sure it's a fantastic story, but the fact he got that timeout in will be something that he gets credit for the rest of his career, and that won him a national champion. That call right there was the play of the year for Georgia.
Ohio State was coming.
Huh?
Ohio State was coming.
Oh man, it was over. It was over. It was over if he didn't make that, if he didn't call that timeout, because it was wide open.
Oh yeah,
it was. Kirby.
It was going to convert it at the very least,
no doubt. So the Georgia Bulldogs are national champs, and LSU basketball tonight, 6 o'clock, SEC Network. We'll be over there. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. Have a great day. Have a great Tuesday. What's coming up on Tuesday? We got Hold the Rope tonight.
We got Willie Wade today.
10 to 11. Hopefully so. Yeah, I got to hammer it down with him.
Out of My League with Nick Diaz.
Out of My League with Nick Diaz coming up at 3 o'clock. So make sure you're subscribed to everybody here over at FM Digital Media. We appreciate you being here and being with us on this Tuesday. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Compliments of Go Chevrolet.
In the way, now I'm just driving around it. They said I need a soul searching, I already found it. I ain't like my other side, now I'm sounding astounded. Drive by and let it ride like I'm whipping a Tesla. Pressure never fazed me, cause I'm bigger than pressure. I'm on my grind, bullshit, can't fit on my schedule. I'ma do what's best for me, you can keep all your lectures. Spend the summer stacking bread, might be gone to November. Pulling up like Trey Young just to freeze up December. I got niggas on the blood like traditional sinners. OGs love me, so I hang with traditional winners. I took a break for a minute, I had to go charge up. Had to focus on my business, I'm coming back smarter. Heat up DJ, tell them go like I'm dropping the Carter. Coming back like KD, it's time to go harder. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. They say that life's a marathon, man, shout out to Nip. They start to think you falling off and they starting to flip. Circumstances start to change and they jumping the ship. Only ones that really matter, whose side do you hip? They tried to push it to the side cause they thought